This is an overview of Excel Chapter 5 project involving multiple worksheets and workbooks, along with making a pie chart. The first thing we're going to do, I want to note before we actually jump into the project, is on page 277 of the book, it actually kind of gives you a roadmap of how we're going to create this project in multiple steps. So kind of good to have that. I wish every project they did that in the book, but this is nice that they do that so we can kind of have something to look back on or something to follow. First thing I'm going to do is they mentioned going under the page layout and themes and selecting the banded theme for our color schemes and various items along that line. And then the next thing we'll do is we're going to take a few minutes and set up our initial spreadsheet as it looks in figure 5-5 on page 279. So I'm going to take a second to do that, and you probably don't want to watch me type. So I'm going to begin this and pause and then come back with it complete, and then we'll add the other elements in there. One thing I did want to note, I have the information put in as I said in figure 5-5. One thing I want to mention is in cell D5 where it says 2015% change, just to show how this is done, when you type 2015 and you want to have that wrap around to the next line, hold down your Alt key on your keyboard, Alt, and hit Enter, and then you can put in the percent change. And that's how you have things go on to two different lines. The same if I wanted to do 2016, I would do 2016, Alt, Enter, percent change. Okay. And the average percent change is obviously the same operation. What we're going to do next is just kind of put in, I hate to use this term, but I'm going to use it anyway, some dummy values. And what I mean by that is I'm going to, under the column for 2014 in row C, I'm going to put in, they want us just to put in the numbers 1 and 2 and use our autofill to put these, and we'll change those to something more meaningful later. And then for 2015 percent change, I'm going to start a sequence of 2, 4, and I'm going to do that autofill again, and I'm also going to do the same thing for the 2016 percent change. I could just copy and paste that, but it's so easy I'll just do it that way. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is actually we're going to put some meaningful formula in these other areas. So the formula actually can be found on the bottom of page 282. There's a little table down there, and for example in cell E6, the 2015 expense, here's the formula, and it's again the bottom of the page. And again, I always encourage people to double check the formula to make sure it's correct, because again these may be a little say difficult to decipher, but as you put them in, make sure the formula matches, but then also when you use the autofill, check to make sure that the values match. So this does match figure 510, which is good. So I'm going to next do cell G6 using that same table on the bottom of 282. And again, I'll autofill that down. Check to make sure that those are accurate, and indeed they are. And it looks like for H6, we're going to do this formula. This one's a little more complex than the other two, but we can handle it. It should be noted, as with every Excel project, do not just type the numbers in, because it's meaningless. And the whole idea of this is that you're actually using formulas and calculations and various things to get the correct items. Next thing we're going to do is underneath the 2014, we're going to use our sum function, and I'm going to use AutoSum. Now watch an important aspect here. When you use AutoSum, it sometimes includes wrong cells. In this case, it included the 2014, which is the year. So we don't want to include that because it wouldn't make sense to add that. So we're going to highlight just the correct ones. Either hit enter or hit your checkbox up here. And it's going to leave a little green arrow down there. We'll talk about that green arrow in a second after I do these other two. Under 2015, I'm going to do the same idea. Make sure the correct items are highlighted. Hit enter. And we'll do the same thing for 2016. Click here, AutoSum. Now what this green arrow down here means is it's indicating it thinks there's an error because we didn't include the 2014. But we know, because we're humans and we're smarter, we're going to just move down and say ignore that error. Okay, so I'm going to save it at this point, and then we'll move on in the remainder of the project.